Hi, everyone. We are going to go ahead and read chapter 13 in Ellen Foster. I was too smart to let somebody find me living with a dead lady the second time around. They list names of funeral homes in the yellow pages, so I called one and said for them to come load her up, and she did not need to stop at the hospital, by the way. I picked the funeral home that advertised in fancy letters. We specialize in embalming. That sounded reasonable, so they got our business. Then I called my aunts, Betsy and Nadine, and broke the news about their dead mama. I know it is an ugly thing to say, but I think they were put out by her dying so near the holiday season. Betsy said, "Well, what do you think of that, and so near Christmas?" I was dying my own self to tell her, "Well, Betsy, why don't you see if the undertaking driver will stop and let you shop a minute on the way to the grave?" But I just said I thought now was as good a time as any for her to go. At least she didn't die and lay up in the house like they said my daddy did. That seems unnecessary to me, with all the people walking around that could find you dead and report you right away. Nadine just said that she'd be right over. That she'd be over. Sorry. What did Nadine say? Nadine just said she would be over right away, like I had just told her she had won a prize off the radio, and she'd be over to claim it in 3 shakes. And she was not kidding. Quick as a wink, before I could finish taking care of my project, here comes Aunt Nadine, bustling in through the back door, asking me where is her mother. I pointed to the bedroom where you would expect her to be. If she had choked in the kitchen, I would have toted or pulled her somehow to her bedroom. Does she think I would leave her mama propped up at the kitchen sink or stretched out by the stove, I wondered? Anybody with any decency would honor the dead and fix them up in their own bed, especially from my experience. You learn by your mistakes. But I had this one fixed pretty as a picture. I did not want a soul to say I had not done my part, even down to the decorations. I found her Sunday hat she never wore and tilted it on her head, the way a live woman might pop a hat on to ride to town in. Then the best part, I will always be proud of, was the nice frame I made all around her body. I put all the artificial flowers I could find from all those show jars around her, end to end, so she looked set off like a picture. A still life, you might say. I finished up about the time the undertaking men and her girls showed up. The colored boys that loaded her up got a big kick out of my project, but Nadine said I was sick to do such a thing. But I feel fine, I told her. I stood in the door and watched the boys work. One asked me if I thought I ought to be in the room now, and I said I wanted to watch this time. Did you really fix her up like this? The other one wanted to know. There was only 2 of us here, and she is one and the other one is me. I said for them to figure it out. Well, I ain't never seen nothing like this before, he said. Thanks, I said. I worked hard, and I was in a hurry to finish up before folks got here so I could show her off. She does look fancy. It's a shame she has to leave, I thought. But they carried her off, and I sat in the room and heard Nadine and Betsy now start a fight in the front of the house. They fought over which one knew she was sick, and one accused the other of ignoring her, and look what happened. You 2 go ahead and fight over who did not take care of the other one's mama. You 2 pass the blame back and forth like butter at your tables, and I will stay out of this circle in time of blaming, because I am not guilty today. And even when she was so dead I could not help her any more, I made her like a present to Jesus, so maybe he would take her. Take this one I got prettied up and marked it down by name to balance against the one I held back from you before. But I do not trust this newly dead one. And when you look at her face, you in your wisdom and seeing will know that her smile is a trick for you. But please take her anyway, and be sure I get the credit for it. And if you can please show me some way that you and me are even now, I do not think I want to go through this again. I know I told her she had her soul to worry over, but I lied to her out of spite. I am the one who worries about souls, and I do not want to Lord, I do not want to. Now, no, Lord, I just want to worry about my own self now and all the living I got to do. So you fix this little deal up for me, and I will appreciate it. You just mark down how I tried this time, and did not sleep to forget. This last one might already be standing at the gate. I do not know how long the trick takes. You might look at her and say, "Old Ellen might have prettied her up, but she still is too mean to be in here." You might say that to yourself or to whoever puts the checks by the names, but Lord, you have to remember how good the first one was and forgive her for leaving your world. My mama did not know what she was doing. She was too sad to think straight. You get like that down here. You just fix that up for me, if you will, and I will wait for a sign, one way or the other, that will show me how I am supposed to live. So that is how I prayed in my mama's room, where I sat close so long by the curtains that hung heavy and blocked the light of everything that happened outside. Nadine came in the room and told me to pack up, that I was going to her house to live with her and Dora. So I put my things all in my box and felt my whole body moving slow now to the record that had been on the wrong speed, but was winding down now. I could tell by the changes I heard coming on, and I put my things in my box and hoped I would not spin again to hear the same sound with nothing changed but the voices of people telling me when to come and go. And as I laid out my clothes and folded them to leave, I reminded Jesus that this is not the way a girl needs to be. I told him again to please settle up with me, so I could be a pure girl again, and somebody good could love me. I went home with Nadine and felt lonesome on the way to her house to leave all the flower jars I fingered in secret, and the colored path I walked down with the same fear I had when I took the lid off a figured jar to peek inside. And I never found cash or silver change stashed in the jars, but every night when I went to bed, I knew I had found a little something on that colored path. But I could not name, but I said to myself to mark down what you saw tonight because it might come in handy. You mark down how they laugh and how they tell the toddler babies, "You better watch out for them steps. They stoop." Mark all that down and see if you can figure out what made you take that trip every night. Then, when you are by yourself one day, the list you keep might make some sense. And then you will know that this is the list you would take to a store if they made such a store, and say to the man behind the counter, "Give me this and this and this," and he would hand you back a home. So I went back with Nadine, knowing this time this would not be home, so I do not have to feel sad about being here in the middle of a place so far from the house at the end of the colored path. I will treat this like a hotel, I told myself. I will stay for a while until I find the next place, maybe with God's help, but more than likely without it. It was winter then, and I had all but quit going to school. I kept expecting the police to come after me, but they never did. If I failed tests the days I did show up, then they might have punished me, but I never missed spelling words, and the numbers I did wrong were careless errors. I always thought I would have more fun going to a harder school. The second day I was at Nadine and Dora's was my mama's funeral. They just had a graveside service, I suppose, because it was a waste of money to rent out a big church room where you only expect 3 or 4 people. And I did not go with them because I knew all that would happen, and it was not anything I needed to see twice. So Dora and Nadine dressed up alike and left me in the house alone. On the way out, Dora said for me to keep away from her room, which I took as an invitation to ramble through and feel while she kept hid in the back of her closet in the dresser drawers. I should not even have to say all that I found. Dora does not have any secrets from me, but she has the idea that there is more to herself than there really is. Dora keeping romance books in the back of her underwear drawer was not a surprise. And I was not exactly blowed over by the boy movie star pictures under her mattress. But I bet her mama would be shocked, and she would cry, because Dora let her down. And if I was anywhere near, she would finally decide that I planted all that nasty stuff there because I am jealous of Dora's good fortune. That might happen while I'm staying here, and I have to gear up for that kind of situation, because that is how these two folks operate. I decided the best thing to do is ignore them like I always have and keep to myself as much as possible. I declared to stay in my room except to go to the bathroom, talk on the telephone if somebody called me, and go to school. I thought about taking my meals in my room, but I did not like the picture of me eating off a tray slid to me like I was on death row, so I would eat at the table like normal. I decided, too, that one of my mistakes had always been lack of planning, but not anymore. While they were at the graveyard, I decided that if I quit wasting time, I could be happy as anybody else in the future. And right now, with one year ending and a new one starting up, I thought, now is the time to get old Ellen squared away for a fresh start. And that is what I did. This is why I think I am somebody now, because I said, by damn, this is how it is going to be. And before I knew it, sorry, I lost my spot. I had a new mama, and I looked her over plenty good too before I decided she was a keeper. I stayed in the spare bedroom Nadine's old husband lived in. He did not die flat out, but he had a stroke of something and wasted away in here. I featured Nadine hiring a colored woman to look after him and saying impatient to her, "Don't tire me out with the details. Just say fine when I ask you how he's doing." Nadine will probably not need to hear the truth, much less see it for herself. That sums her up. So you have Nadine and Dora making up lies with the way they carry on together, like they are getting prettier every day, and what does not come in a shiny package from town is not worth the trouble of opening. But I could tell them some things about what else can come in a box. Oh, not the shiny kind, but the black one that fits town so cozy in a hole. And that is the difference between me and them. I bet Nadine says to her girl some nights, "Oh, your daddy is not dead, Sugar Dora. He's up in heaven, strumming on the harp with the angels, and he's looking down at how pretty you are and smiling at us both right now." Chicken shit is what I would say. She might as well have said, "Sugar Dora, your daddy isn't dead. Why, he's up at the North Pole working away on scooters and train sets like a good elf should. Why, he's Santa's favorite helper." But they get some comfort out of the made-up stories, and if that helps them get along, maybe I should not poke fun. But it is hard for me not to see the humor. I think they were pleased about my decision to keep to myself. If a girl was staying in my house and I did not want there, I certainly would be pleased as punch if she announced one night at supper that you will only be seeing me at mealtimes unless we happen to pass each other on the way to the toilet. Then I got my goat when I had to ask for somebody to help me get a new round of clothes. I was growing again. Nadine took me to the store and I told her just to let me out with some money and I'd get exactly what I had to have. It would seem like logic for me to wear the clothes Dora did, not like anyone, but neither me or Dora wanted to do that anymore. When she slung such a nasty fit when Nadine suggested that idea, I figured I must have sent the red check suit back to them with a stain, but it was fine for me not to wear Dora's throwbacks to school. I have my own style of dressing. The way to shop when you have a limit on money and you don't want to be bothered every morning picking out and matching up items in your wardrobe is to buy everything alike. Before you leave for the store, you check the back of your neck collar to see what size shirt, sweater, and dress you are. Then you reach back and roll the top of your drawers back and write down that size too. That will also be your breeches size. Then you look on the inside of your right shoe. Generally, there will be a chart in your shoe department where you can figure out about the socks. But you'll probably need socks only every third trip or so. They stretch with your feet. Then you go to the girls' department and tell the lady you need the sizes bigger than the ones you have in your hand. You follow her to your racks and say for her to leave you alone now, please. Also, if you wear bad-looking clothes to shop in, the lady will think you are a little thief. I get distracted trying to shop and look very honest at the same time. And you pick out two of everything, just alike, except different colors. But get colors that go good together, like green and yellow or navy and white, not an orange or purple. You will feel like a fool in. I always take a long time to try it all on and make sure I feel right. Then I pay for it and make sure I got my receipt in case something falls apart. I even sent the warranty in on my microscope. I paid good money for it, even if it was the junior model. They had to build things to last. When I get back to where I am living, I lay all the clothes on the bed and admire how it all matches. When Nadine took me shopping that day, I bought the most beautiful dress I had ever seen. I mean that. I saw it in the ordinary dresses, and I said, "This is the dress for me." And the price was right, so I bought it, and it is still hanging in my closet, even though it comes up to my tail. I have growed right much since then. It is a dress you catch somebody's eye with. It is like nothing you have ever seen, especially when I put it on and gazed in the store mirror. I said, "Lord, I could fall in love with my own self." It has a row of lace around your throat, not too much, just enough to set your face off pretty. And then the dress is green, like pine trees down to the waist, where it fans out in a navy blue skirt. The sash is reason alone for somebody to want that dress. Already hooked on to the dress with a bow, you do not have to worry with. It is the kind of dress that decorates you in the front and the back, both. Even when I am walking off, I thought, while I watched myself turning in that dress, somebody could look at me and smile. That dress was the first sign my luck was changing. Some other girl and her mama could have snatched it up before I got to the store, But no, it was there waiting for old Ellen. I could pass for a princess in that dress, I thought, while I turned some more in the mirror. And the next day was Sunday. Oh, the day I went to church and figured that woman, with all the girls lined up by her, had to be the new mama for me. And while everybody else was praying, I looked over at my new mama to be, and then up to the Lord, and thanked him for sending me that dress. I said I look like I am worth something today, and she will notice the dress first, and then me inside it, and say to herself, I sure would like to have a little girl like her. Right after the service, I asked Dora what all I needed to know about the lady with the girls, like who is she, and do all the girls belong to her, or are they nieces and friends of the family? Dora whispered back to me like she might be talking about special handicapped children behind their back. She said they are the foster family, and that lady would take in anything from orphans to stray cats, or so her mama said. And that fit my description perfect, and I started to think hard about how to be her new girl. My new mama says, sure, Starletta can come with us, and why doesn't she just ride the school bus home with me on Friday? Have you ever felt like you could cry because you know you just heard the most important thing anybody in the world could have spoke at that second? I do not care if the president had just declared war, although that is something to think about. I do not care if 1,000 doctors had just said, congratulations, sir, you are the father of a bouncing baby something. All that mattered in my world at that second was my new mama and the sound of yes in my ears. Oh, yes, Starletta is welcome here. I will bust before I get back to school to tell her to pack up her bags. You are coming to my house this weekend, and be sure to bring some of your little rubber bands because I will be asking you to plait my hair again. It is okay if you don't own a suitcase. I use a box my own self. Just put your pajamas and personal hygiene in a bag or box and bring it to school on Friday. Be sure and come to my class when the bell rings, and we will ride the bus home together. And then the most important sight in the world, like the sound of my new mama's yes, she can come, is Starletta's face. Yes, she can come, is Starletta's face looking up from her lunch plate, and I see she wants to come to my house to check if I have some more scratchy carpet on the floor or just anything for her to touch all over again. That is mine. You come to my house and I'll give you anything you want. I thought about telling her, but I did not talk then about giving and receiving. I did not want her to think I was bringing her there to give her things she needed. It was just Starletta, the girl I was after, and she could tote my bed and my checkerboard curtains back to her house if she felt like it. But it is just Starletta. I want to squeeze so hard she will remember that every time somebody loves her good. And I want her just to enjoy herself and let me give her, without the talking, all she has coming her way. Lord, I do owe her. And all I want in return is to wake up on Monday knowing the two of us are even. Lord, then we will all be straight. Then I will not miss her so bad. We will be even friends, and I will not need to prove a thing to her ever again. And she will remember me good when she is old enough to think and sort through her own past to see all the ways I slighted her. Oh, not by selling her down a river or making her wash my clothes, but by all the varieties of ways I felt God chose me over her. And I will tell you it is hard and not one bit decent to keep on with that sort of thinking when you have seen all this world has to offer. So if Starletta is coming on Friday, that does not leave me long to get my room ready. My new mama says she will do whatever she can get around to between now and then. Well, I would like to dust and make sure the floor is real clean. Then I want to wash the windows so she can look out and see the view I got here. Then I want to get her a set of towels ready. Do you happen to have any with a S sewed on them? I need to know. She laughs and says she doesn't, but if it is that important to me, she'll whip it up on the machine tonight, and I can see if it passes my inspection tomorrow. My new mama is always willing to help if it matters to you. I thank her, and then I figure I need a list of all what we can do over the weekend. You just do not invite a friend to stay over and twiddle your thumbs. Friday after school, she can get used to the place. Then we can eat supper. Then Saturday we can ride dolphin, and that afternoon we might go to town. Or the other way around. Then Sunday, I don't know. I always think of something in a pinch. I can change these plans if I need to, just so she has fun is all. And I let the whole lunchroom know on Thursday that Starletta is coming to my house to spend the weekend. If you tell 2 or 3 girls your secret and say you'll just die if they tell a soul, and usually by the end of lunch, people will look at you like they got some dirt on you. So I spread my own rumor and halfway hoped the talkie girls would dress it out from one table of other talkie girls to the next. I just want everybody to know that old Ellen and Starletta got a groundbreaking plan for this weekend. And make especially sure you don't let Dora Nelson hear any of what I told you I say to the Talkie girls right before they went to work. Now all I have to do is wait. All right, that was chapter 13. And Ellen Foster. Okay, given.